Lawmakers in Arkansas vote to punish doctors who perform abortions based solely on whether the parents want to have a boy or a girl. Opponents say sex selection ban is unconstitutional. At least 7 states have similar laws, and the Arkansas bill now goes to the state Senate. Lawmakers in Texas proposed 3 new pro-life bills. One would ban dilation and evacuation abortions where the unborn baby is vacuumed out of the womb. Another bill would require aborted babies to be buried or cremated, and a third proposal would ban the donation of fetal tissue. Teen Vogue, a magazine geared toward teenage girls, recently posted an online story titled, "What to Get a Friend Post-Abortion." The article suggests gifts to lift her spirit. It says the worst part of all, this isn't the procedure itself, which, by the way, is completely safe as long as you have access to a good clinic. The worst part is how you're treated afterwards. Charmaine Yost is an American writer and political commentator. She was formerly the president and CEO of Americans United for Life. You're now with the American Values Group.
I am.
Nice
Thanks for having me, Lauren.
Thank you so much for being here, Charmaine. The article suggests things like watching a silly movie, buying them a girl power cap, downloading a Ruth Bader Ginsburg coloring book. And everyone that I know—
Always my go-to.
Right, when you're feeling sad. Everyone that I know who has just been completely shocked. Number one, that they did something like this, but number two, that it's teens. This is something that's geared toward teenagers.
Right, it's really heartbreaking because it's very obviously, I would say even tweens. You know, it's very geared towards younger teenagers, and that's really deeply troubling, particularly because it's so chirpy and so happy and so
Get your BFF,
right.
A heating pad.
And the whole thing too, for you and I who've been working on this issue for a very long time and know the data on how many things can go wrong with abortions, the long-term consequences for women in terms of depression. In fact, the rate of very serious depression following abortion for teenagers in particular is almost double what it is for older women. And so I'm very troubled by the chirpy message that tells these girls that it's completely safe. I mean, they
right.
offer no window of possibility that it could be a problem for them. And this whole idea somehow that the only reason there could be any trouble afterward would be other people's reactions.
True. What do you think this says about the erosion of values in media?
Well, I think they're really trying to normalize abortion, particularly over the last few years as we've gone through the implementation of Obamacare. The idea that abortion is health care is one of the #1 items of agenda for the abortion industry. So that's partly why we're seeing such pushback, such hatred, so much hostility in the marches and kind of the girl power, women power idea is that they see their progress with defining abortion as something completely normal as being threatened right now.
How can parents and youth leaders counter these types of messages to teenagers?
Well, I think it's one positive aspect of this article is that awareness. It has been heightened for mothers in particular to be aware that it's not okay to just kind of let your daughter be reading Teen Vogue and assume that it's going to be just fashion and makeup advice, that there is a real political agenda going on
and a bias.
And I think, just being sure that you're having those conversations with your daughter. For me, I have teenage daughters, and being sure that you're talking to them about it a lot is the key thing.
So do I. I have a tween who just became a teen, and needless to say, Teen Vogue is not going to cross my threshold. Okay, thank you so much, Charmaine Yost, American writer, and she is now with the Senior Fellow with American Values.
Thanks, Lauren,
for joining me.